I used to think my apartment was haunted, but after what happened last winter, I realized some things don't need ghosts to be terrifying. They just need someone still breathing. I moved into a small apartment in a quiet part of Pennsylvania after my breakup. It was not much, one bedroom, squinky floors, peeling paint. It was very cheap, but I just wanted peace. The old landlord, Mr. Lawson, told me, keep the windows locked at night. Don't leave food out. And if you hear anything strange under the bed, just ignore it. He laughed like it was a joke, but I did not. The first night was calm. Cold air, faint traffic outside, just me and the quiet. Around 2 am, I woke up thirsty. As I reached for my phone, I heard something. A whisper. Not a random sound, a human whisper. Dry and raspy, right under my bed. It said, I can see your feet. I froze. For a full minute, I did not move. The room was dark, but my heart was louder than anything else. I finally turned on the flashlight. Nothing, just dust and darkness. Over the next few nights, weird things kept happening. A strange rotten smell came from under the bed. My food would go missing. Not all of it, just little bites. Once my key disappeared, and I found them the next morning on the floor near my bed, wet, like someone had held them in their mouth. I even called the landlord. He said old buildings, rats, don't worry, but rats don't whisper your name at night. On the sixth night, I had decided I had enough. I pulled the bed away from the wall. There it was, a small wooden hatch built into the floorboards, right beneath where I slept. No handle, just a tiny metal latch and fresh scratches around the edges, like someone had tried opening it from below. That smell, it was stronger now, rotten, sour and human. I called the landlord again, told him I have found a hatch. He sounded nervous. Don't open it. I will send someone in the morning. Then he hung up. That night, I barely slept. I lay still, pretending to be asleep, waiting for that person. At around 3:10 am, I heard it again. The whisper. Soft, slow, like someone pressing their lips against the wood. Why did you move the bed? Every muscle in my body went numb. The whisper continued. I liked when you were right above me. I wanted to scream, but I could not even breathe. The voice was so close. Then, knock, knock, knock. 3 slow knocks from under the floor. I could not take it anymore. The next evening, I set up my phone on the video mode, pointing to the hatch. I left it recording overnight. When I checked the footage the next morning, the video was black of hours until 3:09 am. Then a faint creak. The hatch moved slightly. The 2 pale fingers slipped through the crack. They pushed, trembling, trying to open it, but stopped when the camera made a click sound. Then slowly, those fingers disappeared back inside. I didn't even finish watching the rest. I packed my things and drove to the motel that same night. The next day, I called the police. They broke and opened the hatch. Under it was a narrow crawl space, and at the far end of the dark tunnel, a small, filthy mattress and an empty food wrapper that I recognized was mine. They found a man there. He's been living inside the walls, hiding under my floor for weeks before I moved in. When they pulled him out, He was mumbling some things again and again. She moved the bed. She was not supposed to move the bed. I later found out the landlord had visited that man a year ago, a homeless quitter. But he never sealed the crawl space. He thought it was just empty. I moved out that small week. But sometimes, when I walk up at night in my new place, I still feels like something's breathing under me. And every now and then, I hear a faint whisper in my head. I can still see your feet. So if you ever move into an old apartment and your landlord says, "Don't look under the bed," believe me, there is something. Some places don't need ghosts to be terrifying. Sometimes the livings are far worse. This is a story of a night I stayed in the room that should have been locked forever. I moved to a Willow Street after my mother passed away. I needed time alone, time to breathe. The house I rented was old, quiet, and cold in a way that felt almost intentional. 3 rooms, cracking floors, and the long hallway that never seems to end. But there was one room the landlord told me about. It was the last door on the left. He said, "Don't open it. It's sealed for a reason." He said it calmly, like it wasn't normal. I laughed awkwardly. He didn't. The first 2 nights were peaceful. Rain tapping the windows, wind sliding through the cracks. But on the 3rd night, around 2:45 a.m., I heard something. A soft scratch, like someone running their nails along the wood. Slow, steady, rhythmic. Scratch, scratch, scratch. It was coming from the last room on the left. I told myself it may be a mice. Old houses have mice, right? But the sound was too slow, too intentional, like someone wanted me to hear it. On the 5th night, the scratching got louder, more desperate. I finally walked towards the forbidden door. My phone flashlight was shaking. When I got close, I saw it. A pale hand sliding out from under the door. Thin, bony, trembling, like it had not touched sunlight in years. I curled its fingers on the floor, like it was feeling for someone or something. Then it froze, like it knew I was watching. I ran back to my room and locked the door. My whole body was shaking. I barely slept that night. Around 3:12 a.m., I heard it again. This time, not scratching, not tapping, a voice. A whisper coming from inside the walls. "Please don't let him lock me in again." The voice was soft, broken. It sounded like a woman crying through a mouth full of dust. I pressed my ears to the wall. "Who's there?" I whispered. Silence. Then, "He's coming." The next morning, I confronted the landlord angrily. "What's in that room? Who's there?" He stiffed. "That room stayed locked. Don't ask again." When I pressed harder, he said something that made my stomach twist. "There is no one in that room. There has not been for years." Then he stared at me with the cold, dead eyes. "And if you want to stay alive, stay away from that door." That night, despite everything, I could not sleep. The house felt too still, too expectant. At exactly 3 a.m., click, the door at the end of the hallway unlocked by itself. The hinges groaned loudly as it opened just 1 inch. Just enough for the darkness inside to breathe out. Just enough for me to hear it. A soft exhale, a shaky whisper, "Help me!" I don't know what pushed me, curiosity, desperation, or stupidity, but I opened the door wider. The room was cold, ice cold, no furniture, no windows, just a single corner drenched in darkness. And there she was, a girl, curled up, back facing me, long black hair covering her face. Her arms were wrapped around her knees, like she's been hiding there for years. "Are you okay?" I whispered. She didn't answer. Her shoulders shook like she was crying. I stepped closer, and she snapped her neck around, unnaturally fast. Her face was wrong. Sunken eyes, dry cracked lips, skin scratched too tight. "Don't let him lock me again," she hissed. I froze. Everything inside me screamed to run. Before I could move, I heard footsteps behind me. Slow, heavy, male. I turned around. The landlord stood in the doorway. His face was expressionless. His eyes empty. "You open the door," he said softly. "I told you not to open that." I backed away towards the girl, but she grabbed my wrist with a grip like iron and whispered, "He's not trying to keep me in. He's trying to keep you in." The landlord hung forward. I bottled for the hallway. My heart was exploding in my chest. The girl screamed behind me, but it was not human. It was loud, monstrous, bone rattling. Walk shook. Lights flickering. Something dark and fast crawled across the ceiling after me. I reached my room, slammed the door, pushed furniture against it. The landlord pounded on the other side. "Don't run, it's your turn now." Behind me, something growled. Not human, not even close. Then, everything went silent. When morning came, the house was quiet. The landlord was gone. The girl was gone. The last room on the left was sealed shut again. I left that day and never returned. But I still hear her voice sometimes. Soft, close, right by my ears when I'm trying to sleep. Don't let him lock you in too. So if your landlord ever tells you not to open a certain room, don't test it. Some locks are keeping something inside, and some locks are keeping you out. Whatever you do, never rent a house where one door refuses to stay shut, because sometimes it's not the wind opening it. My name is Ethan Parker, and I recently moved to a new city for a job. Everything was expensive. Expect one small house listed online, 50% cheaper than the market price. The landlord said, "Take it if you want it. Just don't use the back room." He did not explain why. I thought he was joking. A private room maybe, free. I shook his hand immediately. The house was old, quiet, and chillingly cold even in summers. The first night, I noticed something strange. That back room's door was slightly open. I clearly remembered it was shut when I arrived. I closed it again. Second night, it was open again, a few inches more. I laughed nervously. Maybe the door frame is loose. Yeah, must be that. But the third night, I woke up because someone whispered near my ear, "Don't let it out." I jumped and turned on the lights. No one was there, but the back room door, wide open. I tapped it shut. I even pushed a chair against it. But every morning, tap on the floor, chair moved, door wide open. Like someone wanted that room open, or something inside wanted to get out. One evening, power went out. I grabbed my phone flashlight and checked the door. Still shut. I signed in relief. Then, knock, knock, knock from the other side. I froze. Who's there? No answer. Another knock, louder. My hands were shaking. I pressed my ear to the door. A voice whispered, "Please, it hurts in here." It sounded like a little girl. Every instinct screamed run, but I slowly reached for the handle. The landlord suddenly banged on the front door. "Don't open it." I jumped back and unlocked the main door instead. He stormed in, sweating and terrified. "You opened it before, did you?" I nodded. His voice cracked. "She copies voices, cries, tricks. She wants you to feel sorry, so she can follow you." I did not understand. "What is she?" He did not answer. He only whispered, "Help me push the furniture. He must seal that door. Tonight is the anniversary of her death." While he pushed a heavy shelf against the door, he heard scratching, high-pitched, desperate. Then a scream. Using my voice, I backed away. "How does it know my name?" The landlord whispered. "She learns fast." Suddenly, the door handle started twisting. The entire shelf shook. Then, a small pale hand slipped through the gap under the door. Thin, broken fingers, nails long and bloody. The landlord grabbed me. "Don't look, don't listen. If you acknowledge her, she come closer." But I could not move. That little hand pointed at me, and a voice from the darkness said, "You already let me out once. You belongs to me now." The shelf flew to the side like someone threw it. The door slowly opened. I saw two white eyes staring at me from the pitch black room. The girl-shaped shadow with the neck bent unnaturally. She smiled with a mouth too wide to be human. The landlord pushed me out of the house and slammed the main door. "Run!" he screamed. I ran and never looked back. Next morning, police were outside the house. They found the landlord dead, but his body was in pieces. No blood, just a face twisted in pure terror, as if he saw something worse than death. The police asked me what happened. I lied. Who would believe me? I now live in a new apartment. Everything should be fine, except every night at 3:13 a.m. my wardrobe door slowly swings open and a familiar voice whispers, "You forget to shut the door. Can I stay with you now?"